Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is April 11, 2024, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching the U.S. markets tumble after yesterday's jump in CPI, the inflation report. But first, looking at today's major economic events. So we start out the day at 2:15 South African time. First out of the European Union, we have a main refinancing rate from the Central Bank of Europe. Now then, at 2:30 South African time, we have a PPI, Producers Price Index number coming out from the United States, also a very important number. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the Japanese yen tanks to new all-time record lows versus the US dollar as almost everything retraced and sold off versus the US dollar. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both sold off. Looking at commodities, gold and oil remaining strong on their highs but not breaking higher. And looking at the stocks, the only thing that bounced yesterday was NVIDIA. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin also gets a bounce. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD. Now we mentioned this, that the Japanese yen was going to be the first thing that goes. However, I'm going to start with the Euro USD. It's on the bottom of its supportish level at 107.33. That's where we're at right here. Looking at the GBP USD, also did retrace back to its lows. You see that it's on supportish level, so it does break out a little further. We'll see a further sell-off. Now, jumping into the Japanese yen, look at that. This is what we're talking about. We said for the past 4 days, and I've been covering it, look at the daily review. Look at it. It's at 153, all-time record highs. If we look at a monthly chart, you could see that. Never been here before, ever. Okay, so this is really historical lows versus the US dollar. Now, it's not a big push higher, but it's significant because it's saying to us that it's getting weaker versus the US dollar, at least for now. Okay, at all-time record highs, it could go to 2. Okay, if it clears 153, surely it could get to 155, and then it just goes from there as well. So keep that in mind. Now, looking at commodities, gold didn't do much yesterday, really unchanged, still strong on its highs, didn't move further higher after yesterday's CPI number, and then it did crude oil, really remaining unchanged within a very tight range of $1. Now looking at the US markets, let's take a look at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones yesterday sold off further, as you can see that, almost a nosedive as we're tanking, okay, ahead of these corporate earnings. Now on Friday, tomorrow, we start our corporate earnings with Wells Fargo and Citibank, so that's really important. Now looking at the NASDAQ, also sold off tremendously yesterday. If we look at a 4-hour chart, yeah, sold off almost across the board. Now, if we look at individual stocks, let's take a look at this, because the only thing that was really green on the charts was NVIDIA. NVIDIA finally gets that bounce, okay, that we've been looking for quite some time. And like I said, it's ahead of corporate earnings, so this is really important. Now, and the question is whether we're going to, if this was a dead cat bounce just because we hit supportish area, or it's actually going to start changing things around as we get stronger. Now, looking at the individual stocks, JP Morgan had a decent gap down, but held itself, okay? At the end of the day, it remained unchanged, and most of the stocks did as well. I mean, if we look at Microsoft, it was just up slightly. Facebook was just down slightly. So market looked like as if it sold off, but it really didn't, as we're seeing that there's still some strength in the market despite the CPI number that came out. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin gets a bounce above 69 to 70,600-ish level right now. 71,500 is a resistance. If we clear it, it could clear back to our highs, or all-time highs of 73,500. So keep that in sight as this continues to trade. It's been choppy, okay? So just respect it for what it is. It's been something of, play action during the day, trading within a range, mostly between that 69, to about 70,000, okay? As long as it doesn't break it, it's going to be challenged there. However, if it does break it, then you want to be on top of it. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.